Okay, we are live on YouTube. Hey, welcome to our very first Facebook Live or YouTube Live. What am I saying?
Gotta get used to it.
Man, YouTube Live from the 1380 The Fan Studios on beautiful Maples Road.
Yeah.
Wait till we have a studio where we've got the built-in cameras and everything.
It's going to look sick.
We'll see if we get it, but we'll see. Dancing your way home on a Monday, it is the Sports Rush. We are back. After a nice little holiday break, we are back ready to roll. Big show today. A lot of things happening while we were gone. We had a Joy Chestnut, Nathan's hot dog eating contest. I didn't bother watching. First time I missed it in about 6 years.
Why wouldn't you watch it?
I know. There's nothing to watch without Joy Chestnut. Now, he did do his own thing and had a somewhat anticlimactic, like 50-some hot dogs, I think. But not the same.
No, but we know if he had actually been in the real Nathan's, then he would have, gone up to a competition.
He'd have gone 100% ready to go and probably taken down about 70.
Yeah.
But, we had that. We had Tin Cast baseball all weekend. Had
fantastic crowd on the 4th.
Oh, my goodness, Adam. We made it to 9,000 plus. In fact, we made it over 9,300. You and I, like we've got the responsibility for it. We decided that we needed to see 9,000 in the ballpark. We weren't going to be satisfied with this 8,500, 8,600 they've been getting over the last 2-3 years. And boy, did Fort Wayne show out. 9,337 fans showed up for the July 4th game. And the Tin Caps played some baseball that night.
Yeah, I guess, if they want to win, they just have to have a crowd of over 9,000.
Yeah, got to get 9,000 there every night or play on Sunday.
One or the other.
Which, of course, they had Sunday off this week. That didn't fare too well because they ended up losing 4 out of 6 to the Lansing Lugnuts. They came back after that exciting Thursday, July 4th win with losses on Friday and Saturday. But they're back at it tomorrow. They're heading up to Midland, Michigan to take on the Great Lakes Loons.
All right.
6-game series that will start tomorrow night. John Nolan is on the trip as Jack gets some well-deserved time off here in the middle of summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then next week, of course, the All-Star break.
Ooh.
So there won't be baseball until Friday of next week. Tin Caps will be at home, 3-game series a week from this weekend, which will get them back going after the All-Star break. But a lot has been happening. How was your little time off? Of course, you didn't get a lot of time off.
No, but I did the game on Thursday here at the studio, making sure everything went smooth for the 4th of July game on the radio broadcast.
By the way, we had a long break.
We did?
We had a long break.
In between the end of the game and the fireworks?
Yeah, I was telling you, I wasn't sure. I would stick it out. I did stick it out, and I watched about 15 minutes of fireworks, then decided I'm going to watch the rest while I'm driving home.
There you go.
I'm going to get a head start home.
Beat the crowd?
Yeah, beat the crowd.
Good call.
So I exited, but I did wait it out. It was like over an hour and a half. So it was a pretty long break.
Yeah, I definitely had made it home before then.
By the way, they were trying to find things to do. They had a list of events they could go to as their fallback in case they had to fill time. Yeah. And of course, some of the old favorites like Finish the Lyrics where the fans would sing. But I was talking to some of the players and I said, it'd be fun. You got all the players sitting here waiting for the fireworks to start. I said, we should send them out there by home plate and have a dance off.
Ooh.
And I said, have you got any dancers? And a couple of the guys sitting there said, oh, yeah, we've got some guys that would get out there and they would definitely show some dance moves. And so I said, who's the best dancer? If you had to pick somebody that would win the dance off, who would it be? And they said, Emmanuel Pinales.
Oh, the pitcher.
No question about it. He's got the dance moves.
Oh, man.
So I thought it would have been fun to watch.
Sounds fun to me.
Fernando Tatis Jr., he had some dance moves. And occasionally they would have national acts that would come through. Myron Noodleman was one where he would include, players or something. And sometimes you get little a little thing with the superstars, but I thought, man, that would have been fun. I wish we'd have thought about it sooner. This is like 10 minutes till the fireworks start. We were talking about having the dance off. But if it had been like an hour ahead, because Mike Nutter was right there, not far from where I was sitting, and I'd have probably gone over and said, "Hey, I just figured out how to fill the time. We've got some guys willing to go in the dance off." But the Tin Cap, and they were in a good mood too because they had just won a one-sided game. So that was a lot of fun. July 4th, and then July 5th, I had to work, so I was working during the day, then did the baseball game at night. Saturday, got a nice break. Just did the Tin Caps game, and of course, yesterday, a bunch of nothing.
Whole lot of nothing, huh?
Whole lot of nothing yesterday. Just decided I was going to kind of chill, make sure all my laundry was caught up, and not do much of anything yesterday. So I took a pretty easy day yesterday to kind of refresh, be ready to go for this Monday. And also, I knew we were going to be on YouTube. So
yeah,
it's kind of a special day today because you can go to, now here's how you find us. YouTube.com/@ 1380 The Fan, all one word, at 1380 The Fan. So it's youtube.com/@ 1380 The Fan. Might take a little work to find us, but then you can subscribe once you get there. That way you'll know. What do? Hit the little bell and subscribe so you get the alerts and you know when we decide to throw something up there.
Exactly. There's a big red subscribe button that we'll definitely want you to hit. There's a like button that looks like a thumbs up sign that you also want to hit. And like you said, there's a bell that you want to also click, and then you'll get notified every time we go live on YouTube.
And then what we'd like you to do is to go ahead and comment to us on YouTube so we know that you found us, that this little exercise of ours where we just set up our brand new YouTube account, that it's working.
Exactly.
And if everything goes according to plan, we will be doing a little bit more and doing some special videos, even outside of the show, that we will be posting here on YouTube. Coming up on the show today, Mike Maz is going to join us. Speaking of the Tin Caps, Mike Maz, a fixture in the home radio booth for Tin Caps baseball. And nothing really all that pressing or urgent. It's just, hey, the summertime, it'd be a fun time to catch up with Maz, see what he thinks about this team, see what he thinks about some of the guys that have advanced so quickly from this stage, his thoughts on high A baseball versus the single A baseball we saw before. So we'll talk to Mike Maz coming up at about 5:20. And then I thought this would be fun because we've talked about the fact that Jackson Merrill advanced from Fort Wayne to the major leagues in about half a season because he was here 1 year ago right now. Jackson Merrill was here because they were making arrangements for Merrill to go to the Futures game. And it ended up, he went to the Futures game. He also ended up being promoted to Double-A. But at this time a year ago, he was a Fort Wayne Tin Cap. And at this time this year, he is a National League All-Star. Jackson Merrill named yesterday as one of the reserves for the National League All-Star team. And what a huge honor. And how cool is it that we've got a Tin Cap that's playing in the Major League Baseball All-Star game less than 1 year after being a Tin Cap. That is just awesome.
It's super awesome and it's super inspiring. I mean, just the rapid ascension of one Jackson Merrill into the major leagues, into the national stratosphere of baseball. And he's obviously in contention for Rookie of the Year, along with one pitcher named Paul Skeens. But
Paul Skeens having a pretty good year too.
We'll see, but definitely a fantastic start into the major leagues for Jackson Merrill.
Well, and last night Merrill was 1 for 3 for the Padres. Unfortunately, they fell to Arizona, lost 2 of 3 in the series. The Snakes, yeah.
The Snakes. Oh, you got a good snake noise. Oh, my goodness.
That's my diamond.
Scaring me over here.
I don't know what it is. But once again, go to youtube.com/@ 1380 The Fan to find our video rolling right now here in the studio of the Sports Rush for this Monday. Now, but I was mentioning Jackson Merrill because we interviewed him when he first arrived to Fort Wayne last spring.
Right.
Just before the season started. He had just come back from spring training with the Padres. We talked about that experience, about what he learned from it, what his timeline was to advance through the minor leagues. A lot of interesting things. I went back through and listened to what he had to say a year ago, and it's kind of neat to go back and hear his perspective then versus where he is now. And so we are going to replay that conversation we had with Jackson Merrill coming up at about 5:40 this afternoon.
That'll be super cool to hear, see just how much he's come from then, but it'll also be cool to look back. Absolutely.
Yeah, he had some interesting things to say, of course, probably with no expectation that he was going to be playing in the major leagues this year. And so we talked about his timeline and the urgency and was he someone that was feeling like there was pressure to get to the major leagues and how he was handling the pressure and what he learned from some of the guys. And, he was giving the nicknames from when he was out there in spring training. I was talking to Toddy and, Manny. And he's going through talking about the different guys. You could tell he's got relationships with them or had relationships with them before he got there this year.
Yeah.
But things worked out pretty well for him this year. You kind of wonder in hindsight, too. Did that experience from a year ago make it easier for him to make the transition this year? In other words, it wasn't too big for him because he experienced it a year prior.
Maybe.
If you don't remember the situation, Xander Bogaerts had gotten hurt. They needed somebody to fill in for spring training at shortstop. He then was pulled from the minor leagues to join the parent club for a few spring training games. And then they made him an outfielder. So it didn't even matter. But how about the Padres? All three outfielders
Fantastic.
are all-stars.
Yeah, who would have thought?
Yeah, it's not. They just win some darn games.
Yeah, it's like, hey, you got all this all-star talent. Let's get a couple more over 500.
Once again, our Parkview Sports Medicine text line is available. You can give us your thoughts, questions, comments, suggestions at 260-447-8500. That is the Parkview Sports Medicine text line. It's pretty thrilling to see Jackson Merrill on the All-Star squad. By the way, when you talk about the three outfielders for the Padres, it makes you think there's two former Tin Caps among those three, and they both played shortstop when they were here in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
And now they're all-star outfielders.
It's the shortstop to outfield conversion maneuver. It's worked well for the Padres.
It's working out well. So Jay Bashir's future outfielder for the Padres.
Look out.
The Tin Cap shortstop right now.
Oh, geez.
Saturday, did you happen to catch the fever?
I did not.
You didn't catch the fever? Get that? Isn't that sound?
Oh, that does.
That's kind of a catchy slogan.
I like that. Catch the fever.
Catch the fever.
No, I did not.
They had a terrific comeback in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Coming from behind against the WNBA's best team in the league, the New York Liberty, with Sabrina Ionescu. And they ended up winning 83-78, a packed house, another sellout crowd down at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. And Caitlin Clark made history. She had 19 points, 13 assists, and 12 rebounds. Yes, it was a triple-double for Caitlin Clark. After the game, she was presented a game ball by Coach Christy Sides, and Christy Sides couldn't even get that right.
What happened?
Oh, my goodness.
What did she do?
So she had and the Fever put the video out. So, I mean, there's video evidence of what she said, but she congratulated Caitlin Clark and said, first rookie in franchise history to record a triple-double.
Oh, it's not just the franchise.
No, not just the franchise. First rookie in WNBA history.
Wow.
There's about 2,000 rookies that have played in the WNBA. She becomes the first one to ever record a triple-double. And she ended up with 19 points, and Ionescu ended up with 22 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Compare those stats. Yeah, Ionescu's on the USA team. Aaliyah Boston, 18 points on 8 of 12 field goal shooting, and she ran the floor and got a three-quarter court pass from Clark for a layup. How about that?
She did it.
I said that's what you got to have paired with Caitlin Clark. You got to have somebody that runs the floor as a big, and you got to beat the opponent's big down the floor. Clark will find you if you can do that.
We saw it at Iowa all the time with their center.
Yeah, Stelky, was it?
Something like that.
Yeah. And anyway, so Boston ended up with 18 points. Kelsey Mitchell, a couple of big threes late in the game. And Lexi Hull came off the bench, had 6 huge points.
All right.
In the fourth quarter. And so it was good to see her produce because she's not been getting much of an opportunity, but she was big late. And the Fever get the 83-78 win. And by virtue of the Fever getting the win and the Chicago Sky losing yesterday to Seattle, the Fever have jumped above Chicago and now actually hold the 7th spot in the playoff chase.
Oh my gosh, they finally they're in the playoff chase and they're above their new rival.
They're not even in last place in the playoff chase.
Fantastic. Who wants to be an 8th seed when you can be a 7th seed?
Yeah, I know. It's like might as well get that safety. Of course, they've got almost the same record.
True.
If you look at games behind, it's even because it's one more win, one more loss. But by winning percentage, they are slightly ahead of the Chicago Sky for 7th, the Sky in 8th. So, it's nice to see because if it comes down to team success to determine the rookie of the year, a lot of people are starting to get into the Angel Reese corner. She, again, had a double-double. It just keeps that run going. She's now beaten the record of Candace Parker, all-time record. And she is now, 13 and counting?
Yeah.
But she had another one last night, but the team lost. So, all right, let's check what's happening in the world of sports. Time to take a look at today's top headlines with Adam Lundy.
All right, thanks, Brett. Well, Miami Heat rookie Kel'el Ware in his summer league debut earlier this weekend had 26 points, 11 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 12 of 21 from the field, 2 of 5 from free throw, and just 29 minutes. And his averages through 2 summer league games so far are 19 points, 8.5 rebounds, and 3 blocks. So a great start to the summer league for Indiana's Kel'el Ware.
Yep.
Zach Edey will hit the floor wearing an NBA uniform for the first time in his basketball career tonight. The former Purdue superstar and 2-time National Player of the Year begins his journey with the Memphis Grizzlies in summer league action in Salt Lake City, Utah tonight. And Ciante Stewart, a 3-star athlete out of Winton Woods in Cincinnati, Ohio, has committed to Curt Cignetti in the Indiana Hoosiers today. Although listed as an athlete, it is believed that he will play at defensive back or cornerback. And one more for you today, Brett. UConn coach Dan Hurley, who has led the Huskies to back-to-back national championships and turned down an offer from the LA Lakers last month, has signed a new contract to stay in Storrs, Connecticut through the 29-30 season. His new deal is worth $50 million over 6 years, and that's before performance-based incentives. And those are your top stories today, Brett.
Maybe UConn and Purdue Fort Wayne, who both have coaches locked in until 2030, should set up a 5 or 6 year series.
Yeah, some home and away. Yeah,
might as well play it out to the end of the contract, right?
Let's do it. What's up, Huskies?
That's the today's top headlines with Adam Lundy. Still coming up on the show. We'll talk a little PG-13. Kind of interesting what he said on a podcast. Very interesting, in fact, especially if you happen to be a Philadelphia fan. How do you feel about it? We'll let you hear what he had to say. We'll talk about that. Also, there is a national college basketball, I'll call him analyst, although he is somebody who is a betting expert. And he was on a podcast and asked, who do you have top to bottom in the Horizon League men's basketball standings this year?
Ooh.
And we'll tell you how he called it.
All right. I'll be interested.
Yep. Hey, Christopher James Menswear right now. They've got the big one going on. It's time to start saving on the spring and summer merchandise. Right now, they're giving you a chance on all in-stock spring and summer items, 40% off. That's right. You could save 40% on in-stock spring and summer items right now by going to Christopher James Menswear. Check out these sport coats, the jackets, the suits. Check out the trousers. They've got great dress shirts and, of course, a full stock of polos that are still available for you. And you can get plenty of good wear out of them this summer still, but have them for future years because they're always fashion forward at Christopher James Menswear. That means when you pick out styles there, they last for season after season. Check it out, 40% off spring and summer merchandise now at Christopher James Menswear. They are in Covington Plaza on West Jefferson, 1 block west of Getz.
I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. Every summer we hear about five-star quarterbacks signing with college football powerhouses. That comes with a lot of attention. And with NIL, a major factor in college football, players are under more scrutiny than ever before. But the reality is many of these star recruits will fail to make an impact. In 2003, the nation's top quarterback prospect was Kyle Wright. He committed to the U. He threw for 38 touchdowns, 31 interceptions in his college career.
Wow.
In 2013, Max Browner committed to USC.
What's up?
Nivea Dickman from Fishers, who the Badans have been on for a while, chose Buffalo.
Coaches and scouts swing and miss all the time. Not every top quarterback recruit can elevate a program. A lot of pressure to put on an 18-year-old kid, especially at that position. And with the amount of money that NIL has brought to college football, that pressure will only continue to rise. I'm Dan Patrick, and this is Above the Noise. You know our trusted partner, TireRack.com, for their fast, free shipping, free road hazard protection, convenient installation options, and their great selection of the best tires, like the highly consumer-rated Toyo Open Country AT3. But did you know they sell other automotive products, wheels, brakes, and suspension, just to name a few? Everything you need to elevate your drive. You can go to TireRack.com/Dan. That's TireRack.com/Dan. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be.
You can host the best backyard barbecue. You find a professional on Angie to make your backyard the best around. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Inside to outside, repairs to renovations. Get started on the Angie app or visit Angie.com today. You can do this when you Angie that.
How did that get so quiet?
Oh, it's because Dan is blown out. We're good level wise. Here, let's turn up the studio a little bit.
Enjoy your coffee and a book with their new lending library for both kids and adults. Head over onto mydealsfortwayne.com and get your deal today.
All right. Jalen Brunson tweets, Central New Jersey isn't a thing. Okay, Jalen. Thanks for weighing in on that heated debate. Oh, Austin must be tuned in. He just retweeted the IU commitment tweet from Ciante.
Okay, so you've got George's audio.
Yep, I do.
This portion of the Sports Rush with Brett Rump is brought to you by Edding Insurance in New Haven. Personalized insurance services since 1964. That's Edding, OETTING Insurance.
You're listening to the Sports Rush with Brett Rump.
Once again, we are on YouTube, broadcasting live this afternoon. If you'd like to watch us, you can do so. You go to youtube.com/@1380thefan. That is youtube.com/@1380thefan. You'll find our live stream. And I keep looking at that live stream, Adam. I'm not sure if it's my good side, but then I flip it around and I try the other side, and I'm not sure that's my good side. I'm still trying to figure out. Maybe I just need to turn around but then if I show you the back, then you see the bald spot. I don't think I have a good side anymore. I think that might be part of the problem. But no, if you'd like to watch and see what we're talking about here in the studio, you can do it by going to youtube.com/@1380thefan. All right, so we've got tickets.
Yeah.
Supposed to be giving these suckers away, right?
We are.
They're not for us.
No.
They're a pair of tickets to the Brickyard.
Yeah, the 400.
The 400. So if you'd like to go to the Brickyard 400, we've got a pair of tickets for you. Do we have a word?
Oh, guess what, Brett? It's Brickyard!
It's Brickyard, of course it is. Because 400's not a word, it's a number.
It's
so
a
we'll go
number.
Brickyard.
Brickyard.
Okay, so Brickyard's our word today.
Yep.
All you got to do is text us Brickyard to 260-447-8500. You'll randomly be placed into a drawing where we will find one winner of a pair of tickets to the Brickyard 400 coming to Indianapolis. What is that, the 21st?
I do believe it is the 21st. Yes, sir.
All right, July 21st is the race. It's a Sunday race down in Indianapolis. If you'd like to go to the Brickyard 400, text Brickyard to 260-447-8500. So speaking of Indianapolis, Paul George, of course, former Pacer, then decided he wanted out of town, ended up going, OKC, and then on to the Clippers.
Yep.
Well, it's interesting because he appeared on a podcast where he was talking about the whole situation on how he ended up in Philadelphia. And first of all, he expressed that he really wanted to retire a Clipper. He was hoping to get a contract that would extend to very late in his career so he could stay and retire as a Clipper. He didn't really want out of Los Angeles, but that if he was going to need to be moved, and if the team wanted to move him, it was very clear he had a preference for a trade destination, and that was the Golden State Warriors. And he was very open about it when he talked on a podcast after. Now, remember, he's already locked in with Philadelphia, but I think he's still dreaming a bit about Golden State.
They was expressing just how much they wanted me there, how I could have fit in perfectly.
I trimmed it down a little bit. It's
Turn it up.
Oh yeah.
Steph.
They won't hear the audio unless it's loud.
Minga, like Wiggins, they didn't know how or what, package was going to be there to trade for me. But
was my favorite player still going to be there?
Looney.
Yeah.
Looney was going to be there. And so it was very intriguing. And it was still an opportunity to stay close to home, stay on the West Coast. And it was a win-win. I think Steph is a unicorn, one-of-one player, and Joel's a unicorn, one-of-one player. So it was kind of like a good situation to be in the middle of. But ultimately, the deal didn't go through. I think Clippers didn't want a certain trade deal that Warriors were willing to give, and it just didn't happen. But it was close. It was close.
I could have seen you in that uni.
It'd have been dope, man. I was looking forward to it if it happened.
Would have been a lot closer.
I would have been a lot closer. I would have been a lot closer. I probably would have still lived in LA.
Makes you kind of feel like that was really where he wanted to go, and maybe a little bit of a disappointment that he ended up in Philadelphia.
Yeah. It really sounded like he kind of would have rather stayed in California, honestly.
Yeah, stay closer to home.
Yeah, and it sounded like he liked the team dynamic that the Warriors had been pitching. So it's kind of awkward.
Got his hopes up because he thought that a deal was being worked out.
Yeah.
And then ended up in Philadelphia. And I think it's almost one of those where he's trying to make the best of it and look for reasons that he can enjoy Philadelphia. But clearly, it sounds like he wanted to be out in Golden State, stay in California, which he's a California guy.
Right.
And so, in fact, that was one of the issues when he was here, was the question was always, how long is he going to be satisfied being in the Midwest when he's a California native, played his college ball in California. So this only solidifies to me even more so that this isn't going to work.
I agree. I mean, I wasn't moved by the move from the start.
Right.
I think it's going to be another iteration of James Harden alongside Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and then he'll just be the third guy that sometimes contributes and sometimes doesn't, and they'll just be maybe third, fourth seed, and first round exit.
You don't know what locker room chemistry is about.
Right.
I can tell you, and I've told this story before, when the Pacers with Paul George played an exhibition game here at the Coliseum, local media was allowed in the locker room for interviews after the game. We had just started this show, and I thought, hey, I might get some good audio. And so I had a digital recorder, went into the locker room, and everybody went right to Paul George's locker. He sat there, ignored everybody, right? And then grabbed a towel. And then we were notified by Pacers media that we had to wait until Paul had his shower, that he preferred to only talk to us after he'd had his shower.
Okay.
And so he then talks to a teammate about getting hooked up with some lotion. We sat there for 5-6 minutes. And then finally he makes his way to the shower. Good 15 minutes went by, had not come back out. And everybody else was pretty much dressed. Everybody else would have talked to us, but I
Sure.
thought, okay, clearly he is playing the role of the prima donna here, and I gave up.
Mm-hmm.
I just decided enough's enough. I don't need to hear what this guy has to say if he's going to be that disrespectful and make everybody wait that long. Has to realize you're in a market that doesn't get a chance to talk to NBA players very often. And that's how he handled it. Sat there in silence while we all stood around, watched him. I mean, literally, I think we had Pantazzi, Marini. I mean,
yeah.
number of media people just in a semicircle around his stall. And of course, he was not going to say a word or even acknowledge us until he had his shower.
Got to get his little scrubby rubber ducky
So
going
sometimes
on.
you get some personal experiences where it
kind of
sways your perception of someone.
turns you off from the play a little bit.
Yeah. And I'm like, is that a culture guy? Is that a guy that would feel like he's one of 13 or 15? Or is he going to be somebody who thinks all of the rookies and the role players should be worshiping him as a superstar? And so I kind of passed up on him, and I wasn't heartbroken when he decided he wanted to leave Indianapolis. Now I was disappointed because I thought the Pacers were not going to be as good, but here they are. Guess who ends up winning out of that deal? Ultimately, it took a couple of years, but the Pacers roster's in much better shape than any roster Paul George has been a part of.
Yeah.
In fact, has he made it to a conference final?
I'll check. I think he may have, but I'm not sure.
Trying to remember. Somebody could text us 260-447-8500.
He has appeared in 3 conference finals in his career. So.
And but we all know he's got the big goose egg for a championship.
Yep.
When were the conference finals?
2012-13, 2013-14.
That was with Indiana.
It sure was.
That was.
you meant since he's left
yes,
Indiana.
Since he left Indiana.
Just one. It was the 2021 Clippers.
Because what I'm saying is his separation from Indiana because he didn't think Indiana was making commitment, to be a contender. It's kind of funny that Indiana's turned out to have more success, or at least as much success as he's had anywhere he's gone, and he's gone and played as a piggyback to another superstar who won a championship, but they haven't won one with Paul George as their sidekick. So anyway, 260-447-8500. Tin Caps have been done a great job with starting pitching. I'll tell you what. Get this stat, Adam. I don't know if you've heard this on the broadcast. We were talking about it on the TV side.
Mm-hmm.
The Tin Caps starting pitching over a 10-game stretch. Now, this was going into Saturday night's game. So this would have been Friday to the 10 games before Friday. The Tin Caps starting pitching had a cumulative earned run average of under 1.
Wow.
0.9 something.
My goodness.
The starting pitching had an ERA of under 1 over a 10-game stretch. Want to guess how many games the Tin Caps won in that 10 games?
I'd have to say maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, they won 3.
There you go. That's
when you've got an ERA under 1. You would think out of 10 games, you've won at least 7 of them.
Right. Just off the
starting pitching under 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you throw a couple of guys out there for an inning each to finish up the 7th, 8th, and 9th. Boom. You should, be racking up wins. And unfortunately, the Tin Caps offense just has not been consistent enough. And so, they picked up some help with Nick Vogt. He's come in. He's provided a little more offense. But and Sanabria has continued to hit over 300 as a Tin Cap after he hit 311 out in Lake Elsinore. But, man, I'll tell you, the lineup they put out there, what was it, Friday night? It was like every third inning was basically no chance. I mean, they just don't have enough depth in the lineup to be able to put in some of the guys from the bench and give the regular guys a day off. It's just very tough right now. But the Tin Caps will be trying to take care of the Great Lakes Loons this week. And with starting pitching like that, and it shows no sign of slowing down unless these guys end up in Double-A, hopefully the offense can get enough, because we did see the 9-run outburst on July 4th. We saw 5 more runs scored in a 7-5 loss on Saturday. So if they can score 4 or 5 runs a game, I mean, they could go on a real tear with this starting pitching they're getting right now. Braden Nett, unbelievable.
Man.
And then Henry Baez, he's on a heater right now.
Yeah. It really does come down to that run support, and what it's been is just a lack of hits with runners in scoring position too. I mean, it's like every time they get 1 or 2 guys on base, runners in scoring position, get them to second, and then it always feels like it's a ground out.
And every time, and it always feels like you get that leadoff double.
Yeah.
Or you get the leadoff double and then a walk. You got first and second, nobody out. It seems like the Tin Caps have had everything that could possibly happen at that point go wrong.
Yeah.
They'll hit into a double play. They'll pop up. They'll strike out. Just they've not been able to put anything together, even when innings where they've had a very good opportunity to score at least 1 run.
Yeah, it's that situational hitting that just hasn't come around yet.
We'll take a break. Once again, if you want to win a pair of tickets to the Brickyard 400, all you have to do is text the word Brickyard to 260-447-8500. That's 260-447-8500. Text Brickyard, and you'll be in the running to win a pair of tickets that we're giving away today. And well, I'll go ahead and give you this heads up.
What do we got?
We've got a pair of tickets to give away tomorrow, too.
Hey-oh, that's awesome.
And I'll tell you something else.
What?
We got a pair of tickets to give away Wednesday.
Oh my gosh.
And that's not even the end of it.
Stop it.
Oh, yeah. Hold on, Adam.
Okay.
Sit down. We've got tickets to give away Thursday, too.
Oh.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Pair of tickets each day to go to the Brickyard 400 down in Indianapolis. So if you want to be today's winner, then you don't have to worry about the rest of the week. You just want to text Brickyard to 260-447-8500. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Who's picked by Greg Peterson, a national radio host on VSIN? Who is picked to win the Horizon League men's basketball regular season title? We'll tell you who he's got at the top of the list. That comes up next on the Sports Rush, 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Job requires you to be on your feet all day. Teachers, postal carriers,
sir.
salespeople, and restaurant staff. Many of us need our feet to get us through the day. Hi, this is Mike.
Be interesting to see how it goes once it's on video.
Oh, yeah, once it's like sent to, yeah. And that'll be nice because they'll all be in one place. They won't have to like scroll our Facebook feed or anything, too.
I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis.
Yeah, you just go through and choose the video.
Date, yeah, and I put the date on it, too, so it's there. So I'm sure it'll gain traction over time,
there was
too.
somebody there a moment ago.
There we go.
Then they popped out when we got to the commercial.
Awesome.
Whether you're a
Back
nurse or
to
anyone
what I
wanting to
love
enjoy
it
work
more.
without your feet getting in the way, come see
Need
us
some
at the
water.
Good Feet store. Learn more at goodfeet.com. Good Feet Arch supports are HSA and FSA eligible. We're on Coldwater Road next to Joanne Fabrics.
Hey, my
Stop
girlfriend
by
can vouch for me. I
whenever
hit 4 threes in a row
schedule your
yesterday.
free test walk
4
at
of them.
goodfeet.com.
She was rebounding for me.
Mark your calendar and then
Didn't have to do much rebounding.
I found out I'm a catch and shoot shooter. I can't create off the dribble. I'm open. That's what I'm saying. I started off in the corner, and I hit it, and then I moved, and I said, hey, can I get it back? Moved a little bit more. Let me get it again. Top of the arc. Let me get it again. And then I missed the fifth one.
Register now at Wobo.com.
Everyone looks at their radio.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do. When
But I
you
can
hear
vouch.
something
I have a vouch for me.
What did he say?
I don't know. No one heard. She's probably like, what? You missed all of them.
That's a great deal. Where was that again?
See?
Yeah, silly, right?
Not anymore. Now with patented technology from Q, you get what you're looking for.
Like, who did that song?
Yep.
And where to get that great deal?
Your favorite radio station has an innovative way to connect your local businesses to our loyal listeners with our cutting-edge technology, Q AdSync. Every time your commercial ad airs on our station, listeners can see your business name and your call to action on vehicle dashboards. Check out your dash now to see an example of where your logo and your custom message would be displayed. Text DASH to 45364 to find out how you can boost your advertising message with this new feature. Many of our local businesses business owners have seen the benefits of pairing QAdSync with our custom-made radio commercials, so why not you? Text DASH to 45364 to learn more. Powered by the radio station you love and Federated Media.
Mama, what does the chicken
What does
say?
the chicken say?
We definitely got more entries for Brickyard than 200.
Yeah.
Ooh, what about the tiny
Not
dog?
surprising.
Cat.
11.
Ooh, 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 dolphin. What does the turkey say?
Go.
Well,
This guy's
giraffe. Giraffe.
I saved it.
Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you know the big stuff.
Oh, there it
Like
is.
making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right. Visit NHTSA.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
All right, here we
Brought
go.
to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is Mike Nutter,
Yeah.
President
Yeah.
of Wolverine Tin Caps, and you're listening to the Sports Rush with Brett Rump on 1380 The Fan.
Did you know it's very easy and convenient to be able to watch the Sports Rush? All you got to do is go to youtube.com/@1380 The Fan. And you can watch us behind the scenes here in the studio today. You can see this very, very snazzy polo that I'm wearing.
Oh, yeah.
Today's polo choice is a white polo with the 1380 The Fan logo. There's a
Right.
reason Adam is behind the camera.
And it's not just the shirt.
He's, he had to take the whole commercial break. And if you were watching the video, you would have heard him in the background shooting his mouth off about hitting all these 4 threes in a row. And
Yes,
he even took a witness out to the court with him.
Yep. I got someone to vouch for me.
Figured out now he's not a dribble and shoot guy. He's a catch and shoot guy. Now he's figured out his problem.
There we go. I just needed somebody to kick it out to me.
Got to get one of those rebounding machines where, it
yes.
goes through and then just snaps the ball right back to you.
You know those things are like thousands of dollars.
Hey, you know what? The cost of being half good.
My first NBA contract will pay it off.
Yeah. But coming up on the show in hour number 2, we are going to talk to Mike Maz.
Yeah.
You didn't make a summer league roster. You're not getting that big NBA contract because I saw some of those guys playing summer league, and if you're not on that roster, it ain't happening for you, brother.
Yeah, you're probably right.
There's a lot of those guys. There's a lot of those guys out there that I'm thinking, man, oh man, I think I'm watching Y-ball,
Have fun
watching
overseas.
the rec league at the YMCA. Bronny James was one of them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he didn't have a great debut.
But hey, you heard LeBron. Bronny doesn't care what people think.
Yeah, Bronny's going to keep working and grinding.
Yeah.
I do think that if there's anybody who's got a chance to know what it takes to be a competent NBA player, I'm not even saying a star or somebody that even might be a starter. I mean, just a
role player.
A role player that could be a guy that comes off the bench, TJ McConnell, somebody like that. He's got as good a guidance and mentorship as you're going to get with JJ Redick as the head coach and LeBron in his corner. So, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt until we learn otherwise. I'm not going to get overly critical on Bronny. But it does kind of validate that nobody thought he was really worth a pick.
No.
I understood exactly why the Lakers did it, and I will defend the Lakers for doing it because I feel like the organization kind of had to.
Mm.
And it would have been probably a bad move that would have created some animosity if they didn't make that decision.
Yeah, it's just not worth not making it.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, am I surprised they went ahead and locked him into an actual NBA contract and it wasn't a two-way deal? Yeah, a little surprised there that they made that commitment to him.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see what he does with the rest of summer league when he gets back on the court. I mean, he's a guy that certainly needs the reps. He missed the time last fall because of the heart situation, and everybody called it a heart attack. I don't know if it was an episode or if you'd classify it as a heart attack, but he did miss time because of a heart situation last year.
Yeah.
And so he didn't play as much college ball as people who played the whole season. But, and he did get in starting in December. I think it was December when he got back into play. But he had missed about 3-4 months of what would be regular workouts and practices. So, he's still probably catching up a little bit, but he was not real good in the debut for the Lakers the other night.
No.
And then he missed the game last night because of a swollen knee, got some inflammation in the knee.
Ooh.
And they're not sure what his status will be for the next Summer League action. You said Zach Edey tonight?
Zach Edey tonight at 9:00 p.m. He'll be taking on the Utah Jazz Summer League squad out in Salt Lake City.
Where do we have to go to find that? Is that an NBA TV or is
that's right on the mothership, ESPN.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Zach Edey getting the draw.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm going to be watching. I know
Yeah,
that. Yeah,
I'll be watching. What else you got to watch on a Monday, middle of summer?
Yeah, mid-season MLB.
All right, so Greg Peterson, who has spent the last few years working for VSIN, almost since its original existence, he is somewhat of a handicapper. He gives you picks based on, trends and previous results, and he's a guy that's somewhat in the know. But Greg Peterson, who hosts a show on VSIN Radio Network, he was on a podcast recently. And I just found this today that he made his predictions for the Horizon League.
Ooh, home of the Purdue Fort Wayne Mastodons.
Kind of like the Phil Steele of college basketball.
Awesome.
Not really. But as long as he makes these picks, we'll call him that.
What do we got?
So he picked the Horizon League. And a couple of interesting notes. First of all, is he buying into the Doug Gottlieb era at Green Bay? Not yet.
Oh.
Green Bay, 9th out of the 11-team league.
Wow. Okay. Kind of low in the conference.
Is he buying into the Paul Casaro era at IU Indy?
I don't know.
Not yet.
Oh.
Got them 10th.
Over Green Bay or one over?
One below Green Bay.
Okay.
And then does he buy that Mike Davis being gone is going to be good for Detroit Mercy? Not really.
Oh.
It's got them 11th. That's the bottom of the conference. But who's he got at the top? Preseason pick to win the Horizon League men's basketball for 24-25. The Mastodons from Purdue Fort Wayne.
Awesome.
Talked about the fact they've got 7 of their top 8 returning, the fact that they've bolstered their roster with some really good transfers, and they've got a stud freshman, Mason Shrout, that is coming in from Ohio, where he was a finalist for Ohio Mr. Basketball. It's a deep and talented roster with plenty of experience, much more experience and cohesiveness and chemistry than a lot of teams in the Horizon League are going to have because, well, let's be honest, good players transfer out. And almost every team in the Horizon League has lost some kind of a chunk of their roster at the top, either to graduation or to transfer, where the Mastodons kept all of their relevant players from last year and added some really good pieces from Loyola Chicago, UT San Antonio, and elsewhere. So he's got Purdue Fort Wayne as the number 1 team this year for Horizon League men's basketball. Never too early to talk Mastodons as the preseason number 1 pick in the Horizon League this year.
Absolutely. And I'm certainly looking forward to this season. We've kind of talked about how this is going to be a different looking team for Coach Kaufman now with some of those long wings that have some of that length and athleticism.
2 or 3 times now, the Mastodons, whether in the Summit League or in the Horizon League, have been picked near the top or at the top, like either first or second or tied for first. Maybe this is the year. One of these years they've got to deliver. And they've got to be the team in the NCAA tournament. They've got to be the next Oakland. This will be a fun season, though, because we already know they're playing at Penn State.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to play a Big Ten team, that might be one of the few that could be considered, quote, winnable. You're not going to be outsized.
Yeah.
You've got the shooters to compete with a Penn State team that likes to shoot. I don't know what this year's roster is going to look like, but shoot or shoot, Adam. You should know better than anyone.
Oh, I know, my man.
But that was pretty cool. Also, I was looking at Purdue, and I thought, let's take a look at their roster, because this is a team that, in my mind, is also a very deep team. I think the Mastodons are going to have 11, maybe 12 competing for floor time. And you look at Purdue, very similar situation. In fact, when I look at Purdue, I think there is possibly some guys that have played a lot of minutes and perhaps even started over the last couple of years. They're going to have to compete for their job. I think there's open competition right now at the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5.
Wow.
And yes, that includes Fletcher Lawyer at the 2. Because I think part of it's going to depend, what are the 5-man combinations that Matt Painter feels works best. With Zach Edey, you could almost play 4 guards, because you had a guy that was going to clean up on the rebounding, was going to be a shot blocker. If you take Zach Edey out, you have to put a 5 and a 4 that are more traditional 5s and 4s. And then what does that do with your 3? And does it move a guy like Miles Colvin from the 3 to the 2? I could see a Miles Colvin, because of his athleticism and his ability on the defensive end, to possibly be a guy that competes for that spot. He can hit threes. But then you've got perhaps a Cam Heide, who could maybe be the 3. And then you could put a first and a Trey Kaufman-Wren together and make them the 4 and the 5. Or what's going to happen with Daniel Jacobson? Is he going to be good enough to compete in his freshman year?
A lot of questions.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions. One thing I did start to think about when I looked at Purdue, though, was obviously Matt Painter and some of the challenges he's going to have in figuring out who are the 5 that start, what are the role players, who plays a 2, who plays a 3, who plays a 4, what are some of the combinations, what kind of an offense do you run?
Yeah.
Because it's going to be different without the true big post. Now, Trey Kaufman-Wren can probably play the post, but it's not going to be the same type of defenses against that post play.
Yeah, and it's not going to be Purdue's bread and butter on the offense necessarily.
Right. You're not going to have 3 guys that attack the paint as soon as the ball's lobbed into the post. And so you're not going to get the same kind of 3-point shots out of lobbing it into Trey Kaufman-Wren that you got when you lobbed it into Zach Edey. So it's going to be totally different. When they threw it into Edey, they did some things like cut off the other side of the lane, and they had a guy crossing the lane, which often made for a layup. They set up a 3-point shooter. Many times it was Lawyer on Edey's side that would set up for the 3 so you could get the kick out. They're not going to have that same situation, because I don't think you're going to have a lot of doubles and triple teams. Maybe occasionally a double, because some teams, that's just their scheme. They double the post when the ball goes inside. But I think that Purdue's going to have to figure it out. When you look at Matt Painter, and I'm not saying he's definitely the guy, but one thing I did notice over the last couple of years, and I paid close attention to this, is I think one of the signs of a really good coach during a game is, what does their team do and how well do they do it? Do they execute something that's well designed out of timeouts? That first possession, when they've got the ball coming out of a timeout, what do they run and how well do they execute it? Purdue did that really well last year. I think that's a real feather in the cap of Matt Painter. I think that's coaching. That's one way to tell if a coach is really doing the job as far as in-game. The other thing is matchups, combinations of rotations of players. But I thought about this. Out of all of college basketball, now that we don't have a Mike Krzyzewski, we don't have a Jay Wright, we don't have a Jim Boeheim, but he might not have been in this consideration anyway. But with the coaches that currently coach NCAA men's basketball, if you had a team that had one game to win, I'm not talking about a whole season. I'm not talking about even recruiting the team. I'm talking about your 5 guys show up, and this is the guy that takes them into the locker room pregame and gets them motivated, gives them a game plan. Who would be your coach out of the college ranks? One game to win. Who's the college coach you're trusting?
Well, we definitely want to hear from our listeners on this at 260-447-8500. Feel free to text in your answer. I think I might have to go with Painter. I mean, I other than just some of the very established guys like Coach Cal, who's now at Arkansas, but You made a very good point. I feel like every time I've seen Painter draw up a play out of a timeout, and then it's always been something that.
I mean,
works.
is Coach Cal a guy that you think could take your 5 guys? Because again, this is the other part together. Take your 5 guys, and coach them at their highest potential.
Another option, Dan Hurley. He just re-signed.
I thought about Dan Hurley, and I'm like, okay, is he the X's and O's guy, or is he the culture guy? Because they run a lot of set plays.
Yeah.
And if I brought Danny Hurley in to coach one game with a team that he was not practicing with, because a lot of his success is based on the 70 variations of a formation that they have, a certain set, and they have like 70 different things they run out of that set. And so I thought, man, I don't know if Hurley's the guy. But then I started to think about who would my guy be, and I thought I ought to ask our listeners, who would their guy be?
Right.
So it's 260-447-8500. You've got one game to win. You've got 5 guys. They're in the locker room waiting to hear who their coach is going to be tonight. Who do you send into that locker room as their coach? You can have any coach in college basketball, and you got to win the game. One game, that's it. Winner take all. Who is your coach?
Great question. We'll have to definitely read some answers we get at the top of the next hour.
Yep. So text us 260-447-8500. Coming up in hour number 2, Mike Moz joins us. It's his off day. In fact, it's his off week because he does Tin Cap's home radio. And we'll catch up with the Monster Mash.
The Wizard of Moz.
The Wizard of Moz. He'll join us at about 5:20. Also, a replay from an interview we had the pleasure of having a year ago. In fact, a little over a year ago. It was early April of 2023 when Jackson Merrill arrived in Fort Wayne, Indiana to play for the Tin Caps. And now he is a National League All-Star. And it's kind of fun to get perspective on that interview that we had a year ago with what his expectations were, what about the timeline, what about the pressure. We'll replay that conversation with Jackson Merrill coming up at about 5:40 this afternoon. Got to take a break. It is about the top of the hour. It's time to go home on a Monday. And this is the Sports Rush on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
The good old days as a kid when you were sitting at home, eagerly tearing open a pack of
All
sports
right.
trading cards. Oh, the anticipation builds as you uncover rare rookie cards, autographed gems, and limited edition memorabilia. It's like opening a portal to sports history, getting together with friends that share your passion, and you come up with trades and exchanges, or maybe even use some of your hard-earned allowance to buy that must-have card. Well, not much has changed. Card collecting and trading is just as exciting as ever. Experience.
Ryan's going to take Hurley anyway.
Trove of sports trading cards at Midwest Box Breaks, your ultimate destination for all things card collecting is as popular as ever, and it's like opening a portal to sports history. Trust Midwest Box Breaks as your guide to the card collecting universe. They take card collecting seriously and have established one of the best reputations in the industry. And Midwest Box Breaks is based right here in Fort Wayne. Midwest Box Breaks, where the thrill of the game meets the excitement of the pack. Value the customer, respect the hobby. Midwest Box Breaks.
Are you currently working with an insurance agent who represents a single company? If so, you are obviously limited to the products and rates that company has to offer. If I just described your situation, you need to talk with the experts at Hoopy Insurance Services. Hoopy Insurance Services is an independent agent. That means they work with a number of top-notch companies, so they can find you the very best coverage for your specific situation at the very best price. Insurance is important. You need a partner who understands the industry and the coverages that are available, and a partner who will be there when you need help. In Fort Wayne, that partner is locally owned Hoopy Insurance Services. They've been taking care of your friends and neighbors for decades, and they can do the same for you. So call today at 486-7488. That's 486-7488. Or check them out on the web at Hoopy, HUPE-insurance.com. Hoopy Insurance, their family serving your family for over 40 years.
Hey, this is Mike Backley. Join me along with the cast and crew of the Motor Racing Network every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. Hear exclusive interviews.
Waking up, coming back to Victory Lane, doing media spot. That's kind of when it really sunk in that, hey, we accomplished something great.
The best moments from each of NASCAR's premier series.
Chastain did a video game.
Brunson is considering signing a team-friendly 4-year, $157 million extension.
Fort Wayne Sports Station,
as opposed to that 5-year 250.
The latest knife info from one of the country's premium knife shops, Blade Man's Knife Shop. Shops of Scott Road. Customers drive hours just to shop. Hi, this is Mark, the owner of Blade Man's Knife Shop.
Okay, Ryan has responded again.
What do you say?
I'd take Fran McCaffrey. Oh, Ryan.
Fran.
Oh, Ryan.
Fran.
Top quality products for the best in customer satisfaction. There's a difference with top brands. And at Blade Man's, we'll take the time to explain how materials and production results in a better knife for your needs, all in a relaxed, pressure-free, consultative environment. We update our online inventory daily, so you know you're ordering.
Got about 4 minutes. We'll be back.
So check us out.
Leave a comment if you tune in.
And have a cup of coffee on me. Be in the know and follow Blade Man's on Facebook and Instagram today. 10% discount at Lisa Military. Now you can see the collection of Shun knives, the finest in kitchen cutlery, available at Blade Man's Knife Shop in the shops of Scott Road. Prescriptions required.
Oh, saying so, Fran McCaffrey.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online
Let's see if I can, how quickly I can find the video.
Get a free medical consultation to determine the ED medication that's best for you.
Because I tried to
Free
find
shipping if prescribed, a
Dr.'s
100%
video the other
online
day.
process, and a range of treatment options.
Had to give up.
Trusted
Couldn't
generic
find it.
alternatives to the name brand.
Maz said he's going with Tom Izzo.
95% off.
Of course he is. Michigan guy.
Yep.
Just go to hims.com/radio and get connected to a licensed medical provider online for free with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/radio. That's hims.com/radio for your free online visit. HIMS.com/RADIO.
This is a 1380 The Fan local sports update. I'm Derek Tepper. Indiana Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton says that he's healthy and ready to play for Team USA in the upcoming Paris Olympic Games.
You find it? Yeah. Oh, but that's all that's there.
You have to click it. That's the thumbnail.
Oh.
They will play 5 practice games to prepare for the Olympics. Their first Olympic game is on Sunday, July 28th. The club will play twice during the final week, needing 3 points to win the Valley for the second straight year. Traveling to play last place Dayton Dutch Lions FC on Wednesday before playing host to 5th place Kings Hammer FC on Saturday. And the Tin Caps hit the road tomorrow night to begin a 6-game set with Dodgers affiliate Great Lakes. First pitch set for 7:05. Be sure to catch the pregame with John Nolan starting at 6:45 right here on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
All you know it does, it feeds me JMV.
Oh.
It's not on my, I don't get it yet on my page.
Only on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
Yeah, she's got a night of testing ahead of her.
Oh, geez.
MRI and other tests. What is going on?
It's playing twice. That was weird.
Got Monday out of the way. Time to head on home and turn on YouTube because we are live on YouTube today. YouTube.com/@1380 The Fan. That's how you can find us. That's how you can subscribe and check out the video as we broadcast live from the 1380 The Fan studios out on Maples Road. It is the Sports Rush. I am Brett Rump along with Adam Lundy. We're your daily local sports fix, 4 to 6. Big hour on the way. Mike Maz is going to join us. And, of course, he's going to weigh in on our question we just asked. If you had one game you had to win, you had your 5-man lineup, maybe you had a 10, 12-man team, put them in the locker room, and they've got to win one game. Winner take all. Championship on the line. What college basketball coach are you going to put into that locker room to coach your team? Now, of course, we've had Ryan weigh in.
Yeah. Ryan went with Dan Hurley.
And as his alternate, he went with Fran McCaffrey. We still like Ryan.
We still appreciate Ryan as a listener.
We still appreciate him, and we can respect a bad choice when we hear one. But we have Ryan that's weighed in. And if you'd like to weigh in, you can do so on the Parkview Sports Medicine text line 260-447-8500. Who do you think you would have coaching that team?
Yeah, and you did mention that Mike Moz, who we'll have on the show in about 15 minutes, he did weigh in as well. He's going with Tom Izzo.
So now we don't have to ask Mike because now we know what his answer is going to be.
Yeah, he already weighed in, so it's just.
But we'll talk to Mike Moz about that coming up in a few. Of course, he's a Michigan guy, so he's going to take a coach that's from Michigan. And Dusty May maybe hasn't proven himself enough yet.
Not yet.
So we'll see. But who would you have as that coach? Give us a holler at 260-447-8500. That is the Parkview Sports Medicine text line. Also, if you connect with us on YouTube, you can also comment there and let us know what you're thinking on this Monday. We just set up a brand new YouTube channel.
We did.
And we've got to figure out exactly how we're going to utilize it. But we said, hey, while you're thinking about it, let's just go ahead and throw ourselves on there for a day and see what happens. So you can watch us on YouTube. I think the video quality is definitely much better than what we've had in the past.
I agree. I think it looks nice and crisp.
Yeah, very clear, very crisp. Got a nice graphic. That thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
You called it that thumbnail.
Yep.
But you can check it out by going to youtube.com/@1380thefan.
Exactly.
If you do that, you will go right to our, and don't be fooled by not a lot happening on that page yet. Because like I said, we just kind of set up the channel. We're going to include some video interviews that we're going to be able to conduct.
Yeah. Sounds like a blast.
Videos when we do go to sporting events. We can throw some stuff up there to give you some highlights or some things happening. And of course, we can do our show.
Exactly.
And we are there right now. So check it out by going to youtube.com/@1380thefan. But if you had one game you had to win, who's the coach going to be? Is it going to be Matt Painter? I don't think it's going to be Mike Woodson. I don't think people are going to buy into Mike Woodson being a great in-game coach because that's basically what you need. You need a guy who's going to make great in-game decisions, get good matchups defensively, call good plays out of timeouts. Who do you think has the best game, the best bench game right now in college basketball? 260-447-8500. Well, over the weekend, the Fever got a big win, and they knocked off the New York Liberty, the best team in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark, history-making triple-double, as she had 19 points, 13 assists, and 12 rebounds. That is the first triple-double by a rookie in WNBA history. And the Fever came from behind in the fourth quarter to knock off the New York Liberty 83-78. Sabrina Ionescu had 22 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. Once again, compared to Clark, 19, 13, and 12. Now, I don't think you could take Ionescu off of the Olympic team.
No.
But I do think that Clark is making a bit of a statement that she could play the game.
Oh, there's no question she can play the game.
She can play the game. Got to get a left hand. And Ben Smith, former Journal-Gazette sports writer, I think he's giving me a little bit of a debate on this subject because I've tweeted a couple of times about Clark not having a left hand.
Yeah.
And he's immediately bounced back with a reply, doesn't need one, who cares, look at her numbers. But to me, it's like, how can a player play that much basketball in their life and not have learned a basic fundamental of dribbling with your left hand? She doesn't do it.
I don't know.
One bounce and she's ready to turn and go back to the right. I mean, it is just amazing. Just watch the next time you watch the Fever. Count how many dribbles during the course of a game Caitlin Clark actually makes with her left hand.
Interesting. I haven't looked. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'll bet you don't use all 10 of your fingers if you count thumbs as fingers.
Interesting. Hey, speaking of college basketball, taking a look at NBA Summer League tonight, the Oklahoma City Thunder in action against the Sixers. And that's of note because former IU forward Miller Kopp will be playing for the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. So good luck to him. He'll be playing alongside Jack Golke, who's also on their roster.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Also on their roster.
Where's that on? Is that on TV?
It sure is. It is going to be on ESPN as well.
Really?
Yeah, double header tonight of some fun.
So we get to watch Zach Edey in Memphis.
Yep, in Memphis. And Miller Kopp with OKC before that. And Golke.
And Jack Golke.
Shoot some threes. Also on that OKC Summer League roster, a couple more familiar names. Buddy Boeheim, of course, son of Jim Boeheim. And Cormac Ryan, former Notre Dame guy.
Yep.
So there you go.
But anyway, the Fever get the win. And I'll tell you what, once again, the Fever fans have proven that the best basketball fans in this country reside in the state of Indiana. No doubt about it. Because I'll tell you why. Caitlin Clark, in the fourth quarter, needed 1 rebound for the triple-double. She had 9 rebounds. And the moment that she got the 10th rebound, this is what it sounded like.
Keep coming. Starting out in college, rolling into her pro career already. That is remarkable. No small feat right there. You know what I loved? When she got the rebound, everyone in this building knew.
Exactly. The crowd erupted without an announcement. Nobody had to tell them. No, they are paying attention. They know the stats. They know the meaning of the stats. And as soon as she grabbed the rebound, the place erupted like it was a game-winning basket.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Talk about fan engagement, just following along with every single stat and knowing the significance of what that particular rebound
And it wasn't like it would be at most arenas where you hear a smattering of people that stand up and cheer.
Yeah.
It was an eruption from the entire arena all at once.
Fantastic.
Awesome. I wonder who was down there, because I guarantee you we got somebody that listens to this show that went to that Fever game.
I bet.
260-447-8500. Let us know if you were there for the Fever against the New York Liberty on Saturday afternoon. Good to have the Fever back at home, and good to have the Fever now in 7th place with 8 teams making it into the postseason playoffs. Of course, the WNBA is going to be on about a 2-3 week break coming up here. I think it's 3 weeks, almost a month that they're going to be off.
Yeah.
I think it starts July 20th, I think, will be the last date of games before they resume in mid-August. So they've got to take a break so that the All-Stars or the Olympic squad, that of course doesn't include Caitlin Clark, makes it over to Paris and competes for a gold medal.
Yeah, speaking of that, we just got a text on the text line 260-447-8500. They say, do you think Clark should have been picked for the Olympic team, Brett?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I do. I think you've got to find a spot for her. She is a phenomenon. She is a generational talent. And right now, she's the biggest thing in women's basketball. And women's basketball at the Olympics will not benefit from that because she's not there.
Agreed.
Yes. And is it a PR move? Yeah, a little bit.
PR is good.
But you also could argue that she deserves to be on the team because of her skill.
Agreed. I mean, we've looked at some of the stats. Absolutely.
I mean, she started a little slow, had to adjust. She still turns the ball over a little bit, but I think if she was playing with better players, her turnovers would go down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They would be able to make the catch. They would be more open. I think she tries to sometimes make that, hero pass instead of making the safe pass. But when you're a great passer, sometimes that happens. That's where a lot of her turnovers are.
Yeah, and some of that just ball court vision and awareness, if more of her teammates had that, then absolutely. I do think she'd be connecting on more of those passes.
But and she's willing to take that shot to make the keep. I mean, Aaliyah Boston running the court.
Yeah.
Hustling down and beating her man down the court. And Caitlin Clark gave her a 3/4 court pass.
Yeah.
Okay, led her perfectly right to the hoop for a layup. Now, A lot of players will not make that pass. It's not safe enough. They can't make it that accurately. They don't have the confidence in them making an accurate pass. So they're worried about turning it over, and they won't throw that pass and not reward their big. But with Caitlin Clark, if you're somebody that out hustles your player to the basket in a transition situation, she will get the ball to you.
Yeah.
She's that good a passer, and she's got the confidence to actually make the pass.
Definitely. Somebody who did take notice, one of the New York Knicks, who I'm a big fan of, Josh Hart, tweeted on Saturday, quote, CC be throwing that thing.
And so, a little cryptic, but we know what he's saying.
She does throw that thing.
CC be throwing that thing.
Very accurate description of her play.
Yeah. Angel Reese, we will give her credit where credit is due. She breaks Candace Parker's record. So you've got 2 WNBA records that were broken over the weekend. Angel Reese gets another double-double.
Yeah.
Although her team lost.
Better to have a double-double and a win.
Yeah, or a triple-double
or
and a win.
Triple-double in the first in rookie history.
If you're going to do it, might as well do it in a win. Won't be near as good to do it in a loss.
Yeah.
But with that loss by the Chicago Sky to Seattle, the Fever leap Chicago in the standings.
All right.
And so the Fever officially 7th in the league right now by win percentage, and Chicago just behind in 8th, although they are tied in games behind.
Hey, keep it up, get some more wins, get the Sky a couple more losses, and we'll just keep moving up the standings.
All right, so this was a question. I've just got to get it out there before we talk to Maz.
Yeah.
But I might have to ask Maz this question. I don't know if it came up on the radio this weekend, but we had a one-sided game on Friday night, and so John and I, late innings, Jesse Goldsberg Strassler, who is a longtime voice of the Lansing Lugnuts. He's written books. He's a living legend among minor league broadcasters. But he started something, I guess, a couple of years ago. It's called the Fishbowl. And what it is they put 4 or 5 random topics into the fishbowl before the game. And if it ends up being a blowout, then they have to reach in the fishbowl, pull out a topic, and that topic is what they talk about while the game is a blowout late in the contest.
Mm-hmm.
It fills the airtime, right?
Yeah.
And so he came in like the top of the 8th inning and asked John if we needed a fishbowl. And John grabbed one. And then I told John, I said, I think I've got a fishbowl topic. And I'm going to bring mine up first. So I don't know if we'll even need that one. Because you got those little piece of paper, you got to open up and see what your topic is, right? It's a complete mystery.
Yeah, like a fortune cookie.
Yeah, almost. And so I threw this one out. And I want to throw this one to you, Adam, just to see, because I do like to embarrass you when I get my chances on the show.
Can't wait.
Yeah, it's always fun. But hold on, I got to find it. Okay, here it is.
Yeah,
here it is. According to Knockouts, which is box, they printed this from boxofficemojo.com. Okay. All sports movies broken down by sport. In other words, boxing movie, martial arts, basketball, football, motorsports. Among all of the different sports, what is the number 1 grossing movie all time in that sport? And because we were doing a baseball game, I threw out baseball.
Sure.
What is the number 1 grossing baseball movie of all time? Now, we know there's been some really good ones. But can you name the number 1 grossing baseball movie of all time?
How many guesses do I get?
You get 1. Because what we're going to do is you're going to make your guess. If you're wrong, then I'm going to open it up to the text line. Don't have a prize, but somebody can actually be, their ego can be boosted if they can get it.
I'll go Bad News Bears.
And you're wrong. So we get to go to the text line, 260-447-8500. Let us know what you think the number 1 grossing baseball movie of all time would be. Now, you can also use the same text line, the Parkview Sports Medicine text line, to win 2 tickets to go to the Brickyard 400 coming July 21st to Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Yes, it is NASCAR and the Brickyard. It is back July 21st. And you can get 2 tickets on today's show simply by texting the word Brickyard to 260-447-8500. That's Brickyard to 260-447-8500, and you'll be in the running. We're going to draw a winner coming up in less than 30 minutes. Mike Moss joins us next. It's a Sports Rush on a Monday on 1380 The Fan and 100.9 FM.
In a sales job that just doesn't appreciate your potential, we understand, and we have an opportunity that might just surprise you.
We've got 2 votes for Field of Dreams.
Nope.
Okay.
That was the one I figured everybody would guess.
Yeah. I don't know why I was thinking Bad News Bears, but I was just thinking, oh, it's a comedy. Everybody likes
been around a
comedies.
really
It's
long
been a while.
time.
I was gonna go Bull Durham, but I just thought it might
And
have
then
been.
there was, Major League,
All right, y'all.
the Rookie, the Natural.
Keep streaming, 1380thefan.com or on the radio. Bye, everybody. But what were you saying?